Hello there, and thank you for joining me for my second Witcher themed video. This time I will be talking about Princess Ciri of Sintra. Her story begins in one of the northern kingdoms called Skellige, which is where she was born. Little is known about Ciri's relationship with her parents, Pavetta and Juni, but it was known that her mother truly adored her. One day Pavetta secretly sent Ciri away whilst they were supposed to set sail out from Skellige to Sintra. This went against Queen Calanthe's wishes. Queen Calanthe is grandmother to Ciri and the Queen of Sintra. She is also known as the Lioness of Sintra and is known for her outstanding bravery and beauty. Shortly after Ciri had been sent away, both her parents tragically died at sea, making her an orphan before she turned the age of 5. Through her anger at these events, Queen Calanthe forbid Ciri from visiting the Isles again to protect her. The ban, however, only lasted 6 months. Calanthe decided to finally let Ciri visit Skellige, but only once every winter and summer. As a result of the death of Cirilla's parents, Ciri was now the only remaining heir to the throne of Sintra. Queen Calanthe's sworn duty now would be to take special care in raising her granddaughter. At the age of 13, Juni, Ciri's father, had been cursed by a mage who was hired by a usurper of the Nilfgaard throne. This was due to Juni's real father refusing to cooperate and was tortured. Despite this, it did not break him, and so the usurpers turned to the Emperor's son as a means of punishment. Time passed, and one day Juni crashed a party that was held by Queen Calanthe, claiming to love her daughter, Pavetta. Also attending this party was no other than Geralt of Rivia. Having seen the curse that had been put upon Juni, Geralt decided to help. After Geralt lifted the curse, Juni asked him what reward he would like to choose as way of thanks. The Witcher decided to invoke the law of surprise. This law is custom as old as humanity itself, and dictates that a man saved by another is expected to offer it to his saviour who is unknown to one or both parties. In most cases, the firstborn child of the man saved is chosen, conceived or born without the father's knowledge. The law of surprise was then granted to Geralt. Unbeknown to Juni, Pavetta was at the time carrying a child who would then become Princess Ciri. Despite Queen Calanthe's attempts to shield Ciri, she could not keep from learning that she is a child surprise and also destined to be a witcher since birth. It was Cirilla's nanny that told her of the stories of the white-haired witcher, and that he'd one day take her away to be trained as a witcher herself. 6 years on since the lifting of Juni's curse, Geralt returned to Sintra. Queen Calanthe was adamant on not losing her only remaining descendant to the throne of Sintra, so she hid Ciri in plain sight, amongst a group of boys playing around the outside of the castle. Not knowing the true identity of Pavetta's child, Geralt assumed it to be a boy and wondered of which of the boys he was. Despite this, he refused to take any child with him in the end, and he left without learning the child surprise's true identity. Some years passed, and Queen Calanthe had arranged for Ciri to be engaged to a 20-year-old gentleman. However, years later she had a change of heart and called off the engagement before setting up another one. Ciri was not happy and escaped with the aid from some of the soldiers. Things sadly did not go to plan, and the party got lost and ended up in a dreaded forest, off limits to anyone not friends with the dryads that lived there. Normally, the dryads were ferocious and shot to kill on sight, but luckily Ciri wasn't noticed by them. The same cannot be said for the rest of her party, and they were killed as they mistakenly crossed the border. Ciri, now all alone, wandered deeper and deeper into the terrifying and dangerous forest. The giant centipede caught her in its sights, and she almost met her death when her screams were heard by Geralt, who was coincidentally nearby. After the centipede was slain by Geralt, she was questioned as to why she was there, but the princess refused to answer. Eventually, she ended up joining them in their travels, all the while telling Geralt how she did not want a husband. When they arrived at their destination, Ciri was led away, and she soon realized the people there were preparing to make her a dryad. A few hours, Ciri was sat with the dryad queen when Geralt arrived to join in discussion. The conversation eventually turned to Ciri, who revealed to the queen that she was destined to be a witcher. And on learning who Geralt was, she realized she was destined to him. The Dryad Queen allowed them both to leave, realizing that destiny was at stake. Geralt came to discover that Ciri was his child surprise as they travelled together out of the forest. They soon encountered some trouble as they ran into King Ervil's soldiers, who were staging a robbery. The men turned and attempted to kill Ciri and Geralt, but the Witcher held them off and told Ciri to run. Instead of running from danger, she decided to climb all the way up into a tree. After Geralt defeated the soldiers, Ciri joined him. They were also joined by an old friend of Geralt's, Mousak, and nearby dryads. During 1263, the Nilfgaardian Empire eventually decided to move on to Sintra, having already taken over kingdoms in the south for some time. During the struggle, Ciri was barricaded in Sintra's castle with Queen Calanthe, her grandmother, along with other noblemen and women who were guests at the castle. There was no chance of escape as the Nilfgaardians were closing in. In an act of desperation, Calanthe sent soldiers to escort Ciri out of the castle immediately. They escaped via a secret passage hidden in the castle, known to everyone except the queen. Despite this attempt, they were spotted just as they had fled from the exit of the passage. Ciri's escorts fought bravely, so she had further chance to escape. All but one perished during the fight. They made a grab for Ciri and escaped with her. Later that night, Ciri managed to slip away whilst the unknown man slept. Ciri ended up alone, wandering the forests for 2 weeks before finding a campsite and staying with the people who lived there until she was eventually taken in by the Druids. Some time later, she came across a kind-hearted woman who took a liking to her. She had a family and a warm home, so she agreed to stay there for a while. As fate would have it, the woman's merchant husband was out on a trip during this time and was rescued by Geralt of Rivia. When the man brought the Witcher back to his place, Ciri immediately recognized Geralt and cried out to him before the two ran to each other, reuniting once again. Geralt, now accepting Ciri as his destiny, took the young girl to Kaer Morhen to begin her training as a Witcher. During her training, something strange started happening to Ciri. On a few occasions, she would go into a deep trance, uttering incoherent words in another voice. Bothered by this, Geralt and his old master Vesemir sent for the sorceress Triss Merigold. As she arrived at Kaer Morhen, she saw Ciri in training. She had a nasty fall, and so Triss ran over to tend to her injuries. In doing this, she witnessed firsthand one of Ciri's trances, this time predicting Triss's death, as the others involved predicting Geralt and Vesemir's death. One midwinter night, Triss revealed Ciri was a source. However, sources were only transmitters of magic and therefore had no control over it. A strong emotion could all of a sudden have the power to flatten a small town. In order to study her trances, they had Ciri drink white seagull, which initiated them. Triss learned that the entity speaking through her was far more powerful than she was capable of handling. They then knew that they needed the help of a more experienced mage, Yennefer of Vengerberg. Ciri was sent to the temple of Militel for schooling. There she would continue her witcher training whilst also taking elder speech lessons from Triss. The witches even made a custom sword for Ciri. Now equipped with her new sword and the training from 2 powerful sorceresses and 2 witches, she would begin her long journey as a witcher herself. In the game The Witcher 3, Ciri is actually one of the most powerful characters. She is so strong that there are many things she can do that Geralt himself cannot. As she is born of elder blood, she actually has the right to lead a country if she wants to. On top of that, she is a source, rightful ruler of Sintra, a witcher, and a sorceress. It is standard that witches can only use the most basic of magic with their signs. The 5 symbols they make with their hands allow them to perform lower tier spells like pushing an object or making a barrier. As Ciri is a source, however, she is different. She is a powerful human connected to ancient magic that allows her to perform extremely high-level magic. This means she can use her unique powers such as phase dash and create portals which can take her through time and space, something of which no one else can seem to replicate. Ciri's magic also allows her to only need the use of a single sword, as she can harness her powers and use them with the sword to strike some devastating blows. Despite Ciri's biological parents having passed away, Geralt of Rivia and Yennefer of Vengerberg take on the maternal role of raising her. Geralt is unable to have his own biological children due to the trials of becoming a witcher, and Yennefer is also unable to have children from sacrificing her right to gain great beauty in exchange. With Geralt a powerful witcher and Yennefer a powerful sorceress, they are each well equipped to teach and hone Ciri's skills and capabilities. Triss Marigold, another powerful sorceress, also shares a hand in helping Ciri to grow and develop. Thank you so much for listening to the story of Princess Cirilla, who is now a skilled witcher. I hope you have enjoyed the story and found it relaxing. Thank you so much for all of your amazing comments and for subscribing. It truly means a lot to me, and I am so happy to be making these videos for you guys. You are all unbelievably sweet, encouraging and supportive. I am very lucky and very grateful. I hope you sleep well or are at least more relaxed.